What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here. Today, to discuss PSA and why I think they resell for so much more than everybody else. Comment you see all the time. This doesn't make any sense. Why is a card in this slab worth more than a card in that slab? All that jazz. So not sure where this is going to end up going, but I'm just going to spit out some thoughts. And I'll be curious what you guys and girls think in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. So, we all know it. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people question it. A lot of people don't get it. How is it that a PSA 10 Luka is $1,000 in one slab and $500 in pick your slab, SGC, BGS 95, whatever. It's the same card. You know, for the purposes of this, I'm going to use the four actual real grading companies, PSA, SGC, BGS, and CSG. They're all reputable graders. You could relatively trust the grades as much as you can any of the other ones. Whether it's a PSA 10, a BGS 95, let's say True Gem for the purposes of this, an SGC 10 or an SGC 95 and a air quotes True Gem. What's the difference between those four cards? PSA comps for 5,000 in this mythical made up Luka card, and the other ones will be around 650 to 500 probably, depending on the brand and the day. Everyone says buy the card, not the grade. You hear it all the time. Buy the card, not the grade. Buy the card, not the grade. Buy the card, not the grade. It's not the way the world works. We like brands and we like labels. Whether they add value or not, in reality, who knows? Probably not. But in perception, flexing, showing off, whatever, we as a society like whatever the brand that everyone's talking about is. Prior to the rise in PSA and BGS used to be much closer together. And in some cases, BGS was ahead of them as the primary grader that everyone went with. You're talking 10, 15 years ago. And then over the last few years, really, is when PSA closed the gap and then jumped them. Just recently, within the last probably 3 to 5 years. Actually, probably less time than that. Why is this? Flipping Steve brought this point up. I believe it was Flipping Steve, so credit to him. Back in the day, when grading first came out, it was, SGC's been around for a while, but for the purposes of this, we're mostly going to talk about BGS and PSA. Beckett printed the price guide. Beckett made a point to put BGS grades in Beckett. Back in the day, Beckett was our influencer. We bought Beckett. We read Beckett. That's what we had. You looked at Beckett. The old school people, that's what you did. I used to look forward to going and getting the Beckett every month. When I would go to the card shop to buy packs, you would buy the Beckett, and it would literally dictated what stuff was worth. And of course, they put the prices in for BGS 95s and BGS graded cards. So what happened? BGS became the go-to. Okay. And this is a theory, Steve's theory. I agree with it. And what happened after that? Beckett became less relevant as a magazine / entity. The new generation comes in. Let's say 2017, 2018 forward. A lot of new people come into the hobby all at the same time. The hobby, let's not forget, I think a lot of people forget this. The sports card market was heating up prior to COVID. So the pandemic injected it with steroids and took it to the next level, but the market was already hot. It wasn't at the astronomical prices that we saw, but in general, there was a good buzz about sports cards. You had an amazing rookie class with Luka and Trey. Luka had started the 2019 season on absolute fire. His prices were soaring. You had the hype around Zion coming into the league. It was a whole situation. But prior to that, the card market was already getting a lot of new people pushed into it. A lot of new people come in, and I talked about this when I was talking about comic books. When new people came into the comic book market, they disrupted the market. The people that were already living in that market didn't understand what was happening. All this new money was coming in. They had no idea what the hell was going on. They weren't following their old rules and regulations in regards to, hobby do's and don'ts or whatever. Or this doesn't make sense to do this. And the new people came in and said, we're doing it our way. I think a similar thing happened in sports cards. New people came in and they looked and they're like, oh, that's nice, Luca. Oh, it's only a 9.5. Oh, that's a really nice Luca. That's a 10. Oh, yeah, I went to 10. Of course I want a 10. 10's bigger than 9.5. I think a lot of new people coming in too. BGS's grading scale, yeah, sure, it makes sense to us. But imagine being brand new. Oh, that's a BGS 9.5, cool. And then the person on the other side of the table is, well, that's a True Gem Plus. That's a Min Gem. That's a Min Gem Plus Plus. So the prices are all different. That's confusing as all hell if you're brand new. You know what's not confusing? PSA 9, PSA 10. Not hard to figure out. I understand a lot of the old school collectors like the subgrades. I don't think a lot of the new school cares. They come in, they see 10s, they want 10s. Okay? Another thing that happened, PSA had the set registry. Yes. How relevant that is today, I honestly don't know. But they had it. And a lot of people did build PSA set registries. That made it that there was a lot of cards in PSA. Base cards, all sorts of stuff, because people building sets. PSA also had a nice clean pop report that you could look at and get data from and whatnot. BGS's is a nightmare to try to look at and get stuff out of. Plus you have the confusion over what actually is the BGS 9.5. Enter the era of me, myself, and I, hobby influencers. Whoever you want to talk about. Pick one. Pick them all. Doesn't matter. We come in, data tools come in. The hobby's gaining more and more steam. The prices continue to widen. Now, what does everyone talk about? Any video that you watch on YouTube, any vlog at a sports card show, anyone going over numbers, what's the first thing they always say? Wow, a PSA 10, that goes for X. And a PSA 10, that goes for Y. And a PSA 9, it does this. How many people do you see doing market analysis using SGC 10s as the baseline? How many do you see using BGS 9.5s? Next to no one. You use them when you're looking to go find value because something doesn't match up with what the PSA 10 price is doing. So now all of a sudden the new influencers take over. Beckett doesn't matter anymore in regards to the magazine, not the company. Well, a little bit of both actually now. The new breed is here, and the new breed is just talking about PSA endlessly. Right, wrong, or indifferent. They have the most comps out there. They have the most cards and slabs. That's what helps drive the data tools. So it's the thing that gets talked about the most. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. Someone new comes into the hobby. They Google up or YouTube search up sports cards, whatever. Any one of a number of different people pop up. What are 98% of them talking about? PSA 10 this, PSA 9 this, PSA 10 this. Then what do? Go to eBay. Oh, I want a Luca PSA 10. eBay, Luca, PSA 10. Hell, eBay practically auto-fills out the search bar with PSA in the title when you type in a player name. So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. And I honestly don't know how it changes. We're, like I said, at the top, when I'm using we broadly here, the hobby as a whole, whether you like it or not, especially a lot of the new cash in the market, at least on lower-ish, at mid to lower end stuff. I'm not talking about 86 Jordans or LeBron Topps Chrome Refractors or stuff like that. For the most part, the mid-tier to lower end stuff, people are buying the brand, not the card. They are buying the slab. We do it all the time. StarStock is a company built on not even ever seeing the card. You don't ever see the card on StarStock. You never see the card. Whether it's graded or not, or raw. You don't see the card. You're putting your faith into them that that card is what they say that it is. You're buying completely blind. How many people make trades on trade nights or whatever and barely look at the cards? They just see the label. They see it says Luca Opticalo PSA 9, Luca Silver PSA 10, whatever. And they go, cool, glance at it for a quick second, make sure the case isn't cracked, swap cards, swap cash, on to the next thing. Now, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people out there that are still buy the card, not the grade. But I don't know if they're outnumbered, but they are being outspent. True collectors, if you will, if you want to go down this path, true collectors still talk about buying the card, not the grade. They'll gobble up SGC at half the price as a PSA and be perfectly happy with it. They are not looking to pay a premium because they're not looking to flip the card. Us evil investors / speculators / flippers, whatever you want to call us, we care about what the market wants. The market wants PSA, so we pay a premium for PSA. The secondary market wants PSA, so they pay a premium for PSA because that's all they hear about is PSA, PSA, PSA. So then they keep buying PSA at a premium, which then backs into the flippers going, oh, yeah, I need PSA because that's what everyone wants is PSA. So it's just a vicious circle. And I honestly don't know how it changes. I really don't. I think the only thing that's going to drastically shuffle it up is if Fanatics does something in the grading scene. Other than that, I don't see it changing. I'll give you the reasons why. One, I don't see the narrative changing. For one. Two, whether you like it or not, one of them is always going to be in the front. It is. I understand. Hey, it's a 10. It's a 9.5. It's a gem mint card across the 4 different slabs. Why aren't they all priced the same? It's just not the way we operate as a people. It is not the way that we operate as a people. One is always going to be elevated above the other. The problem is, I guess, to the third point, PSA is so far ahead. I don't want to say that you're too big to fail, but I just don't know how it happens. Yeah, sure. SGC's like, the little kid that could or whatever. But, Dakota did the video a few weeks ago at Sports Cards Anonymous where he talked about, is SGC closing the gap? And through his research, I haven't done a deep dive on myself yet. But in general, his take was no. At a quick glance, I see the same thing. And as I've talked about many times before, on the back end, the SGC slabs are not as liquid. It is what it is. Some people want them. Most don't. They don't move as fast. They don't move for the same value. BGS is a shell of its former self. Their grades are still respected. The slab is still respected. You're going to see less and less new cards in BGS slabs because they're so far jacked up right now. And it's mostly going to be the older stuff in BGS slabs. I just don't see how they close the gap because, as I've talked about numerous times, they're the hottest mess. SGC's already kind of passed them up, in my opinion. CSG, their slabs are awesome. Their labels suck. Some people like them better when they're in hand. It is what it is. Their comps have been an absolute disaster to this point. And this is all going on while PSA has been mostly shut down and these companies have not gained a ton of ground. SGC is getting more submissions. Yes, I'm talking on the comp side of things. And I refer to it all the time. Once the Death Star becomes fully operational, I just think it's over. Not over, but it's going to widen the gap even. Maybe not widen the gap, but there's going to be less cards submitted to the other places. The second PSA has more competitive pricing, there are still be people that are great with SGC. Don't get me wrong. There's still going to be people that send the BGS, CSG, and the pop-up garage graders. But every time PSA opens a new pricing tier at a lower price, more people are going to send their cards there because all they're looking is at the resale value on the back end. I mean, I guess that's maybe the house of cards who ends up holding the bag in the end. Because all this stuff is not going to be worth what it's worth today. Some stuff will go up, most will go down. 95% of it is probably going to go down to pennies on the dollar. I always refer to sports cards as a big game of hot potato. You just pass it around and hope the music doesn't stop. So once PSA opens up and begins taking even more submissions, just more and more cards are going to flow to them because of the resale value. The hobby is about true collectors. That's like the essence of it. But the evil investors, flippers, whatever you want to call us, I'll lump myself into that. That's fine. we're outspending you, and essentially we're setting the comps on the PSA stuff. That's really, to me, what it boils down to. Because a true collector is going to buy the SGC card at half the price to put in their collection because they don't care. They know it's a gem mint card across the board. The flipper / investor people want what sells for the most. That's all they care about. I don't really think they care about the card inside the slab. They just care about what it resells for on the secondary market and how hard is it going to be to move and how much upside does it have eventually to sell it, profit margin wise. And it's going to have the highest ceiling because it's in a PSA slab. Like I said, maybe it changes. Maybe people's shifts or mind shift on this. I just don't, other than Fanatics coming in and shaking the snow globe, I don't know that I see a path for how we get there. Once again, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. This may have been a little rambly, a little all over the place, just kind of spitting from the top of my head on these. I've had these thoughts kind of floating around for a while that I just kind of wanted to put into the ether. But that's my general thoughts on why PSA resells for so much more. Does it make sense? No. Will it continue? Probably. That's all I got for you guys and girls. Peace.